why don't we go ahead and dive into things. So Fair Credit Foundation, just a little bit about us. We are a 501c nonprofit organization out of Salt Lake, but our services extend well beyond the borders of the great state of Utah, right? We cover a lot of different states. And so our mission, of course, is to help teach individuals and families about how to manage their finances wisely and to improve and sustain financial well-being. And that mission continues even during this continuous pandemic that we're facing, and trying to help individuals and families be able to navigate during these uncertain times. And so with that, some of our services, besides the webinars and other classes that we offer, we primarily deal with financial coaching in a one-on-one setting. And right now it's done virtually or over the phone, but hopefully someday we can resume those in person. With that being said, some of our other services include our debt management plans, which we can work with you and your unsecured debts, the creditors that you have with those unsecured debts, and trying to lower monthly payments, lower interest rates to help try to get you to be out of debt and in a more affordable way. Our other program, our IDA or match savings accounts, is super helpful, especially for those that are looking to go to school or get an education, to be a first-time home buyer, or to even start a small business. If some of those goals are in the cards, as they say, for you, see if our match savings account can't help with that. And of course, like I mentioned, we have our continuous education, which you're all part of today. So kudos to you for being here, and we really do appreciate your attendance. And the last thing that we offer is our refinance payday loan program, or Credit Gazelle as we like to call it. So it's a little bit about us, and again, our contact information will be provided at the end. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we'd love to help you out. Again, just some housekeeping for today. If you're not speaking or have a question, we'd ask that you please mute your mic and use the chat feature though to throw in your comments there, especially too as we have different presenters and they're sharing. If a question comes to your mind, go ahead and write it down there, and we'll address it at the end during our live Q&A session. And again, you can always reach out to us for our free financial counseling, and again, that information will be provided to you at the end. So to get started, again, my name is Talon. I'm a counselor here at Fair Credit Foundation, and to start us off, we have Melanie Jukes and some of her team with USU Extension to be able to, talk with us about creating better health, and lots of good information that they have there going on for us today. After that, we'll hear from Itzel. She's also another counselor here at Fair Credit Foundation, and she has some tips for us for some smart holiday shopping. So lots of good information there. And we'll end with the presentations with Mackenzie. She has a challenge for us to be able to, like I mentioned earlier, have some extra money in our pockets this holiday season. So, and then lastly, Ben will help lead out that question and answer section. So I will now turn the time over to Melanie, and let me go ahead and stop this. And if you're there, Melanie, we'll go to you.
Thank you. We're excited to be here today. So as he said, I'm Melanie Jukes. I work for Utah State University Extension. I'm based in Salt Lake County, and I'm representing now the Create Better Health program, which is statewide in Utah, And even across the nation, it's found in counties around the nation, but they might have a different name. So Create Better Health is the SNAP-Ed program for Utah. And our mission is to provide nutrition education to those in need, to promote healthier habits and healthier lifestyles. And hopefully, of course, that will help us all to fight chronic disease and delay the onset of that and prevent it. So that's kind of our goal in general. And what I love about this program is it's not just, it's not just cooking, but it's really the shopping tips and techniques so that healthy eating can be affordable. And I'm a huge advocate of healthy eating being affordable, and it's possible. I know it is. And of course, a lot of us have predetermined ideas on what healthy means, but there are a lot of things that are cheap and inexpensive and available to us that are really good for us. And so that's what we're going to do today. And I have some team members with us that teach courses in Create Better Health. So we have Caitlin Waters here. She'll talk a little bit later, and Laura Streeter, Laurie Markusich, and Nicole Guzman. And we're all going to take turns sharing our favorite tips to saving money on the groceries. So saving money on what we have to spend, right? And how we can do so. So to begin, Laurie is actually going to share with us.
Okay. If you're like me, the very first thing you think of when you go grocery shopping is, it kind of feels overwhelming. So I thought I would give you a little bit of tip and a little bit of some options that'll help you make your decisions a little bit easier and not so daunting. This slide has a couple of things that you can think about, and there is a grocery shopping tip at a handout at the end that you could probably pick up. But I'm just going to kind of touch on a couple of the that have kind of helped me and can kind of help you. So here in this slide, it talks about how just a couple of them there that says, don't go to the store hungry, avoid the overly processed foods, always compare prices, use your coupons, and beware of the items that are on the end of the aisles. And those are just a few little things, but some of the things that I use and I have found that work really well is to, first of all, kind of try through the week to make a little shopping list. Kind of think of the things that your family like to eat and try to keep them healthy, and shopping little menu or recipe ideas, and make a list. Because usually if you make a list and you stick to it, you save time and you save money. You kind of just go in the store and you know what you're after instead of kind of wandering around. Once you get in the grocery store, if you can kind of keep in mind that the grocery store on the outside edges are usually the fresh foods, the milk and the produce and the breads and things like that are on the outside. The middle aisles usually are like your canned goods and sometimes your processed foods and your chips and your cookies and things like that. And there's things that you need in those aisles. There's a cooking aisle and has the spices and things like that. There's aisles that you need to go down, but if you can keep in mind that those outside edges are usually where you're going to find your healthiest part of your grocery store. And then also, as I mentioned before, kind of try to compare prices, try to look through your newspapers or look around for coupons that help you, because a lot of times they really do help. They kind of like it. Sometimes at one grocery store, there might be a better sale for something than at another grocery store. And then sometimes when you're using those ideas, maybe say you're going to use your menu or your recipe for beef that week, and you can see that the chicken is on sale. Try to adjust yourself so that you can choose the chicken when it's on sale. So that's a really good tip. And then another thing is try to only go once a week. If you're like me, if I run in the grocery store for one thing, I usually pick up 3 or 4. And so if you try with your list and your menu and your idea once a week, you'll usually save a lot of money that way. Try to shop when the store isn't as crowded, and try to shop when you're not hungry, as we already mentioned, because a lot of times you'll go in there and pick up things that you don't usually do. And try to compare your quality. You know, store brands are often high quality, but their and their brand names sometimes are a little less money. So, and then if you're like me, I tried to leave my kids at home, because you can really spend a lot of money because they'll throw in the basket. But if you need to take them, that's fine. Just say to them, let's pick one thing, and then you won't have the fighting of having to spend more money for a lot of foods or chips or cookies that they would choose. So I hope those tips give you some good ideas the next time you go to the grocery store.
Thanks, Laurie. And Caitlin put in chat for us the actual file to that handout that goes into a little more detail. On the screen, if you're looking at the funny numbering, the 2, 4, 6, 13, 16, those are the tip numbers in that handout that we kind of pulled out to highlight a little bit, but you can click on that file in chat to download that. Okay, now it will be Laura.
Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to be talking about planning a menu. And for me, planning a menu doesn't ever really become a rigid thing. What I like to do is I like to plan out, or I guess make a list of meals that I can make with everything that I already have on hand in my fridge, freezer, and pantry. And so I'm never bound to Tuesday night, we have to have potato soup. If something comes up, if our schedules get crazy, I'll take a look at the other things on the menu and see if there may be something is easier and faster that I can make. And so it doesn't have to be this rigid, hard, fast rule that you have to follow throughout the week. It can just be a simple list of meals that you plan to make for the week, and then you decide on the fly what works for that night. Another thing is, if you are going to try something new, which is fun to do, it breaks up the monotony of dinner. Be sure to give yourself extra time when you're making something new that you've never made before. If you only allot yourself 20 minutes to make it, you may feel rushed, you may miss steps. So give yourself plenty of extra time to try new recipes, especially if you're going to try something new for the holidays. You don't want to be having that extra burden of food waste if you make a mistake. Read through the recipe beforehand, become familiar with it so that you know all the steps that you need to follow in order to have a successful recipe. Like Laurie mentioned, shopping with a list will ensure that you don't wander the store just trying to remember what it is that you need, but rather you have that piece of paper or the list in your phone that you can follow along and get what you need. It's been proven that the shorter time that we spend in the grocery store, the less money we spend. So getting in and get out saves you money. Reducing food waste is really important and helps us to save money, because if we buy the food and it ends up in the garbage, it was never a very good deal to begin with. So plan to use leftovers, or turn things like roasted vegetables into pureed soups. I was sharing with my coworkers the other day that for me, the Christmas ham is always a planned over item that I like to turn into other things. A Christmas ham can be very pricey, $20 to $30, depending on where you're shopping. That's a big chunk of your food budget, but I oftentimes turn the leftovers of that Christmas ham into multiple dinners, scalloped potatoes with ham and white bean soup, ham and pineapple pizza, and then I'll even use the ham bone in a split pea soup when I'm done pulling all the meat off of it. So that ends up meaning that each meal was really only about $4 for that protein because I've planned on using the leftovers. So that's a good way to save money. Also, several weeks before the holidays, non-perishable food items will start going on sale. So things like canned green beans or cream of mushroom soup for that green bean casserole at Thanksgiving, or the boxes of stuffing or cranberry sauce, those things will actually go on sale several weeks before Thanksgiving. So taking advantage of store sales prior to the holidays rather than waiting till the week of can save you money. The stores really like to take advantage of people who haven't planned and procrastinated buying those holiday staples, and they'll charge you a premium price the week of the holiday. So buying those in advance can really save you a lot of money. And then just for everyday cooking and eating and getting your family to be on board with what you make, getting kids or even your husband or partner involved in whatever it is that you're making will give them ownership in what you're making, and it's more likely that they will eat it. So kids can tear lettuce for salad or peel carrots, they can grate cheese, they can stir sauces for you or peel potatoes. So getting people involved so that they have some ownership in the meal really helps everyone feel involved, and then everyone can sit down and enjoy it together. And that's all I have to share.
Thanks, Laura. I love a lot of those tips too. This one, I'm going to talk just a little bit more about planning meals when you have a stocked pantry. And sometimes it takes some time to do that. You know, we don't all have the luxury of a lot of money where we can just go to the store right now and stock up on everything that we usually buy that the price is low. But you can start small and you can save a lot of money if something you buy regularly happens to be on sale. And, you know, maybe you start with maybe just 2. You only need 1, but you're going to buy 2 because it's such a great price. And maybe you have a little bit more room in your budget where you can buy more than just 2, and just slowly start having a supply that's on hand. And there's a lot of benefits to doing that. So that's what I'll talk about next. So if you can stock on what you normally eat. So Laura just mentioned, doesn't save us any money if it gets thrown away in the garbage. So even if it was a really good deal and we don't need it or use it and it gets thrown away, that's not really saving us money. But if you're stocking things in your pantry, and by pantry I really do mean like cupboards, fridge and freezer, and also just kind of some of those shelf stable foods, but things that you normally use so it won't be a waste of money. When you have those, you might have multiple options available for some sides on your meal to kind of change things up a little bit. For example, my children love this little rice and bean dish that we make and flavor with a little bit of sausage, and they just love it and they'll eat it up every time. So I'll change it up by having sides. So sometimes maybe I'll roast some squash, and that's kind of what we've done the last week because we have some winter squash from our garden that's ready to eat. But other times I might use some freezer vegetables or some canned vegetables or a fresh side salad. And it just kind of depends on what's on sale, what I have on hand in my pantry, and maybe what we're feeling like. Like I won't usually roast squash in the middle of summer because it's so hot and it heats up my kitchen too much. So, you know, it just kind of depends. You can also reduce your preparation time, and, you know, time is money, right? We can do so much more with our time. So if we can use those great ideas Laura had about, you know, using that ham in like 4 different ways. She had a couple great ideas that I hadn't thought of. I do something similar, but I was like, oh, I need to add that to my list next time I have ham. And then you can, you know, you kind of cook that ham once, but then you're eating from it multiple times. And another thing I do that for is like tacos, whether that's meat tacos or lentil tacos. I'll usually often have tacos for dinner, and the next day or 2 for lunch, I'll have like a taco salad, and I'll throw in things from my fridge that need to be eaten along with that. And I'm just changing it up just slightly, and I don't have to do more cooking. So that can be helpful too when you have those items on hand to do some of those switches and swaps. You can also have more flexibility. So, you know, if something comes up in your family, you forgot about an appointment or something you had, and it's going to kick out your prep time for dinner, having a well-stocked pantry can help with those things too, so that you're not running out to eat. And really that's kind of the benefit overall of that well-stocked pantry, not just eating better, but you can reduce your budget a lot if you're not running to the store last minute, or if you're not running to a restaurant last minute as well. And yeah, so the next part we're going to talk about is Nicole, and veggies are known to be pretty expensive, but she's going to give us tips on how to help with that.
So hello, my name is Nicole. So today we're gonna talk about eating plenty of veggies is an important part of eating a healthy diet, especially right now that we're in the middle of the pandemic. A lot of people, they don't think that we can get our vitamins and minerals through here. So it's really important to eat them, but especially sometimes, like my previous partners, co-workers said before, that sometimes we buy a lot of things that at the end of the day we don't use, so they tend to go to spoil, or sometimes we waste our time and money. For example, in my case, what I like to do, recently, one of my neighbors was able to share with me some squash. So let me show you some tips that I usually have. I have this bucket. I don't know if you guys can see. In this bucket, I usually have my big squash and some onions. For example, I'm Hispanic, Latina, so in my house, we always have tomatoes. We always have onions, squash, any different types of chilies, corns. So usually what we try to like use this basic staple foods, and at the end of that day, whatever we have left over on the day, we usually eat it on the next day. So for example, I can share with you guys one of my favorite recipes that I like to use. It's called Mexican calabacitas, which is Mexican squash. So this is pretty basic and simple recipes. As long as you have tomatoes, onions, squash, you're ready, you're set to go. For example, a few days ago, I had Mexican calabacitas. So for dinner, I made a bowl. So I use brown rice, my Mexican calabacitas, and then for breakfast, instead of using rice, I use noodles. So I kind of make like a little bowl. So there's some simple basic things that we can use, and I think it's really easy to modify certain things. And in this case, I was able to use my leftovers from the day before and use it as my breakfast. Next. Thank you. So for example, as you can see, one of the things that it's easy to use during this time, for example, the things that we have here in Utah, for example, I'm from California, so 365 days of the year, we have all the vegetables available. But what I noticed that when I moved to Utah, the basic things that we have on season, it's onions, carrots, potatoes. I like sweet potato as well, also beets. So these basic, delicious, and nutritious foods are really helpful, especially right now, since most of the items are pretty cheap because they're seasonal. Also, we have cabbage, winter squash. At first, I didn't know what was winter squash, but one of my coworkers was able to explain it to me what was winter squash. So I was able to notice that you can do different things with winter squash. Also, we have garlic. Garlic in my family, it's normal. It's really common, especially that we know that right now it's gonna be flu season. So we tend to use garlic in our foods, onions, and cabbage as well. Also Brussels sprouts, turnips, parsnips. They're pretty interesting, delicious items. At first, I can share something. When I was little, I was really picky eater. But then when I was around 6 years old, I was diagnosed to become pre-anemic. So my doctor told me, you know what? You need to eat your vegetables, because if you don't eat your vegetables, there are gonna be side effects when you grow up. So thankfully, because of my pediatrician was able to give me the talk, I was able to incorporate these vegetables on my diet. And one of the budget tips, as my coworkers mentioned before, what I like to do in my house, okay, we like to make a list of the things that we have on the fridge, on the things that we have on our pantry, and from there, we try to make some dishes. And from there, what we like to do, like as many as you know, during the week, we have those stores that they have some vegetables on sale, and from there, that's how we make our list, and from there, that's how we make our dishes as well.
Thanks, Nicole.
Yeah.
One of my last favorite tips before I turn the time over to Caitlin is to replace some meat in recipes with beans or lentils. And meat is probably one of the most expensive things in the grocery store that you'll add to your cart. And beans are probably one of the cheapest things. So it can be really helpful. And in things like chili, for example, you could go full bean chili and maybe not even notice the difference, and that can be a huge budget stretcher in many ways. Even if it's something simple like tacos, You might usually load up your taco with meat, but you can start whittling it back where maybe you add half the meat you normally do and add a scoop of beans, and it will help you feel full longer, and it's very inexpensive and generally really, really good for you too. The last tips we're going to share on food safety, and I'll turn the time over to Caitlin and then we'll be done.
Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin Waters, and I'm going to be sharing some things about food safety, especially in the context of holiday cooking, things like that. All right. So the first step of food safety is to clean. We all know about washing our hands lately. We've been learning that one. But I wanted to mention some tips about how to keep your kitchen clean while you're cooking for the holidays. So if you can assign someone to be kind of your cleanup person, whether that's your spouse or an older child or whoever, you're probably gonna have, people over to the house. Assign someone to be your dishes person. That will make a huge difference so your sink doesn't pile up and you kind of stay on top of it. So cleaning up as you go will make a big difference. I also wanted to mention, that's okay, Melanie, to make sure before the holidays, when you're planning and prepping, prep your fridge as well. So really cleaning out your fridge, using up those foods that have been in there for a while, making space. You're gonna have a lot of foods going in there, big turkey or whatever. So you really wanna make some space, and make some space in your freezer as well. Okay, the next step is to separate. So this is talking about separating raw meat from vegetables. We're probably pretty aware of that one, but especially during the holidays when we have multiple people in the kitchen, maybe multiple people doing the cooking, you want to really make sure you designate a cutting board and a knife for raw meat. So making sure those are really separate, and making sure that, once again, there's room in your fridge for raw meat, that it's not touching anything else, that it's not going to leak or drip on any other foods. So really making a good effort to stay really, really safe and prepared with your raw meat. Okay, step 3 is to cook. And this step mostly talks about using a food thermometer. A food thermometer is a great tool to keep on hand all year round, but especially at the holidays. You can pick one up at a regular grocery store for just a few dollars. They can get really fancy, but they don't have to be super fancy. But this will really take the guesswork out of your meat for the holidays. In the handout that I just put in the chat, Create Safe Food, there's a little chart, and it will have different temperatures for different meats, so you can see what the proper cooking temperature is for different meats. So that's a great thing to keep on hand. You can even print that and hang it on your fridge so you're ready for the holidays. And then the last step is chill. So this is talking about properly refrigerating foods and properly thawing foods. So again, in that handout, there's how to properly thaw foods, which is very important during the holidays, and doing it in a safe way. So there's 3 ways to do it, and you can check out the handout for more details about that. But again, making sure you have enough room in the refrigerator to thaw items. So make sure you think about that as well. Another thing is, if you have leftovers, you want to refrigerate them within 2 hours. A lot of times at holidays, we just keep food out on the table for a long amount of time. We're snacking on them all day. So you really want to make sure that the foods that are supposed to be kept cold are kept cold, and the ones that are supposed to be kept hot are staying hot. So if you have like a cheese plate, maybe just putting like a bowl of ice under it so it stays nice and chilled, or just remembering to put things away before you start your next activity for the holidays. So food safety is super, super important, especially during the holidays when you have lots of people around, lots of different food items. It can be really easy to get sick. So we don't want that, and we want to make sure we are practicing food safety. So be sure to check out that handout and print it out. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Caitlin. We hope you've been able to learn some tips for shopping, for reusing leftovers, for planning to use your food to keep it safe and to reduce waste. And we know, and you heard a bunch of tips from us, but we know it can really help your budget and help to keep you safe and eating well in the long run. So thanks for having us today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, if you have questions for them, go ahead and put that in the chat, and we'll have the live Q&A session at the end. Thank you again. That was super helpful. Learned a lot there, and I hope you take advantage of downloading their resources to be able to utilize them, because it's good information all year round as well. So why don't we go ahead and turn the time over to Itzel, who is going to continue with all this great wealth of knowledge.
So I'm just actually put in their talent. This
oh, well, perfect, Mackenzie. Thank you.
So thank you so much again to USU Extension for coming and for giving us those food tips, especially just educating us on their program as well. They are a great resource for their SNAP education program, as Melanie mentioned. So now we're going to we're going to head into our portion of the webinar and specifically talk about holiday saving and holiday spending. Now that we have the holiday foods and fall foods ideas and safety underway, we'll cruise right into the money portion of it. The 'tis the season I have here. As we know, we are approaching the holiday season of Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the New Year's, and then we've got even Valentine's Day after that. We're heading into the holiday season, but with a very unique situation going on, which is the pandemic. So our hope is to be able to give you some tips and tricks during this time that is so difficult. So I'm going to start off with one idea here, which is the different low-cost and no-cost holiday activities that you can do as a family or as a household or as a couple or even just individually. So I've got some here, and I would love for those who are participating to enter into the chat some of their favorite things that they do during the holidays that are no cost or low cost. But here I have some. So watching holiday movies, making a paper chain countdown, starting a gratitude journal or jar, building gingerbread houses. You can do that for both around the Christmas season, but also Halloween. Making a pumpkin dish, dipping caramel apples, spending your time by volunteering, participating in a local 5K walk or run, carve or paint pumpkins, decorating sugar cookies, holiday light parades, so taking a little drive-by experience, looking at all the holiday lights and blow up figurines that neighbors might have in their yard. Do a puzzle, create a holiday playlist. I just actually created a Halloween one, and of course I had to have a couple of classics on there. Monster Mash was one of them. Jump in the leaves, and then last but not least, a Bob Ross paint night. That's one of my favorite things to do for low cost, is just to have some acrylic paint and do that. So those are a few ideas. All right. Let's move forward. Okay, so holiday spending. It's really, really important when it comes to spending during the holidays that you make a spending plan. So we talk about budgeting in general, but more specific about the holiday budgeting portion of it. So making sure that you have a list and that you check it twice. Who are you going to be giving gifts to? How much are you hoping to spend? What kind of items are you hoping to give them? So that you can do some comparison shopping and making sure that you're trying not to go over the amount in which you're hoping for those particular people or those particular items. How to stick to your spending plan. So prioritize purchases. Consider shopping online, and Itzel here in a minute is going to actually talk more in depth about the shopping online. Avoid last minute shopping. So I mean, it's nice that we're talking about this in October. We've got tons of time to think about this and to plan ahead so that we aren't spending a lot of money and in such a short period of time. Consider shopping alone. So maybe when the kiddos are in bed. I know that makes it tricky, but it's sometimes nice because the stores are a little bit more empty when you go later or earlier. Eat before you shop. They mentioned that, USU Extension mentioned that when it comes to grocery shopping, to not go on an empty stomach. And that's so important as we spend more when we are hungry. And then consider the end of season sales that go on. And then most importantly, I have here in bold is to avoid the 40% purchases, or avoid the 40% off purchase when you get a credit card through that particular store. So that's one thing that we don't want to do during this holiday season, is to rack up credit card debt. And the 40% or the 30% or the 20%, whatever it is that particular store might be offering when it comes to the credit card approval or joining, is not worth it. So definitely avoid that credit card trap that we can find ourselves in. All right, so now I'm going to turn the time over to Itzel and how to, now that we know we need to stay within a budget during the holidays, how we can actually do that.
Thanks, Mackenzie, and thanks everyone again for being here. We truly appreciate your presence and hope that you're having fun and that you're learning some new tips for shopping this holiday season. So let's go ahead and start with sales. So as we all know, sales are going to be really big this holiday season, as they usually are. So I have a few tips on what you can do to look up for these sales. So first things first, definitely look for information in your mailbox, via emails, and social media platforms. So a lot of different stores will send out little booklets with information on upcoming sales, coupons, discount codes, etc. So keep an eye out for that in your mail. Same goes for emails. If you're subscribed to a certain store's email list, you'll most likely get information on upcoming sales and can help you prepare for any shopping you have to do this season. And of course, from what I know, every store has some sort of social media platform. So check out their social media and see what type of sales they have coming along, and definitely prepare for that. Also go visit their website or their store in person. You'll most likely see a sales section at every store that you go to, and their website will also have information on any current or upcoming sales. And of course, once the holiday season is over, you can use that time to purchase any stuff that will most likely be on sale for next year. So I love to I love to buy my home decor for this holiday seasons at the end of each season. For example, Halloween's my favorite month or holiday of the year. So I always go to TJ Maxx and buy their discounted stuff at the end of the holiday, so the beginning of November, just because I can get everything for like half off or more. So it's really nice to prepare for next year. A few other examples for different kind of sales to look for. I know Amazon Prime is having their Prime Days today and tomorrow. So if you have a subscription with them, definitely go on their website to see what kind of sales are happening, because they have a ton of things from like home decor to clothing to electronics. But if you don't have a subscription, that's totally fine. Walmart and Target have your back. They also have a big sale going on today and tomorrow. Walmart, I think it's called the Big Save, and Target's it's Deal Day. So if you go to their website, you'll be able to find all the information you need for those sales. Alrighty, next slide, please. Thank you. So another great way to save some money this holiday season is to use coupons and discount codes. And just like looking out for sales, check your mail, emails, and social media to see if you have any coupons or any discount codes. I know Walmart and Costco, just because I receive a lot of their information via mail, Sometimes they'll send out little booklets of coupons, especially Costco, of different sales they have going on. I received one not too long ago, I think. It was like the beginning of October of a certain sale they were going to have, and they had different items that were going to be like 30%, 40% off. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And then with social media, a lot of different stores use discount codes for you to shop at their store. So clothing stores are a big one for this. A lot of different clothing stores have like, oh, if you shop with us today, we get free shipping. If you order online, or if you come in today, you get 30% off, or, you know, the BOGO, buy one, get one half off, stuff like that. So definitely check social media and follow them for information on any coupons or discount codes. And of course, keep an eye out for any holiday and seasonal codes and coupons, because they will for sure be coming our way. Next slide. Thank you. And then online shopping. So this one is a big one this year, mainly because of the pandemic. A lot of stores had to close at the beginning of the year due to the coronavirus. So they had to resort to online shopping, which honestly can be a big help, especially during this season. So a few pros and cons. Let's start with the pros. Shopping from your own home is awesome. You can just literally pop up your laptop or your phone and sit on the couch and shop, right? A lot of different stores have mobile-friendly apps that'll allow you to save your payment information, like and save any, you know, products you like that you want to purchase later, etc. So, you know, they're really mobile-friendly apps that can help your shopping experience become a little more easy, right? It's time efficient. Again, you just stay in your home or wherever you are and shop, and then, you know, order your stuff and it'll come to you, right? Instead of having to, you know, leave your house, get in your car, drive to the store, wait in line, etc. So it can really save you time. The risk of being exposed to the virus is lowered, mainly because you're staying inside your own home. So that's a plus. You don't have to go out in public to shop. And then of course, there's always discount codes and coupons that are exclusively for online shoppers. A good time to online shop this season will definitely be during Black Friday or Cyber Monday. We definitely want to avoid those crowds, not only because, you know, it could take time, but because of the pandemic. I don't even know what how it's going to be this year for these type of holidays or deals and sales, but definitely take advantage of the Cyber Monday. Some cons to look out for when online shopping is there will always be some sort of shipping and handling fee, so you'll be paying extra money to get the items shipped to your home. You usually have to wait a certain amount of time to receive these items, could be a week or more, depending on where you shop, you know, how much orders are getting in, etc. There's always a risk of you losing your purchase items or getting them stolen. I mean, it just depends on a lot of factors, where you live, you know, are the delivery people reliable, etc. So there's always that risk. And of course, you can't physically touch, smell, or try on products online. So you have to rely on your judgment, you know, reviews online, etc. To see if this item was actually going to be what it says that it is online. And of course, beware of any type of online scam. Unfortunately, they're very common, and I would assume they're even more common nowadays just because everyone's doing online shopping more often. So a few more tips on how to online shop, or just when you're online shopping. Definitely read the reviews from other customers if you're buying something new, to kind of get an idea of what you're getting yourself into. And when you're purchasing from a website, just make sure it's secure. Most of the times, the online shop will already have a secure system for you, but it's always good to double check. Use a credit card if possible when purchasing online, just because if anything fraudulent happens, you're more protected with using a credit card, and you don't lose any of your actual money. So definitely recommend using your credit card. Look for any free shipping codes. A lot of stores online will have that for you. They either might have like just, you know, some discount code for the holidays, or they might have you say if you spend a certain amount of money, then you automatically get free shipping, stuff like that. Always read the return policy just to make sure you're aware of you know, what needs to happen if you have to return something. Keep your receipts, because you never know. Again, if you have to return something, excuse me, you have your receipts ready to go, right? Or if something comes broken or missing, you have your receipts to back you up. And last but not least, check your packages from start to end, just to make sure that they get here. I one time ordered clothing from a store that I like online, and they delivered my package, but when I opened my front door, it wasn't there. And I checked my mailbox, it wasn't there. I had to call the delivery service. I had to call the store that I purchased it from, and then eventually realized that the person who delivered my items put it in my storage closet, and they didn't tell me. So it's good to just track your packages to make sure that they're on time, and if they're not, to start, you know, figuring out what happened, right? Perfect. Let's go to the next slide. Alrighty, so another great way to save some money this season is to shop at outlets and discount stores. So these places are great because you get more for your money. There's usually a lot of high-end or luxury products that are a lot more affordable at these type of stores. There's always sales going on, and we'll talk more about them in a little bit. You can find dupes for higher end products. So if you're looking to, if you want a certain product, but it's maybe out of your budget, these stores can help you find something that's similar, but at a fraction of a price, which is really awesome. And then if you have bigger families, these are great places to still buy amazing things, again, at a really affordable price. So let's dig into the different types of outlet stores we have available for us. Perfect. So let's start with our outlets. We have a couple here in Utah. We have the BDO outlet over in Ogden, the Layton outlet, which I've never been to the first two, but I've heard great things about them. NPS is one of my favorite stores ever. They have one in Salt Lake City, close to California Avenue and Redwood Road, and then they have one in Orem. I love this store because it literally has everything you could think of. They have home decor, they have outdoor decor, outdoor stuff, food, clothing, beauty, everything you can think of, and at a really good price. You can find a lot of amazing stuff there. I think one time, my boyfriend, he wanted to buy a hydro flask, so one of those really expensive water bottles, and I found a black one there for $20, and usually these ones cost like $49. So it was, like I said, you can find a lot of great things that are like higher end products for a super good price. So definitely recommend you going there. And then the Logan outlet's very similar. Haven't been, but heard it's a great place to shop. Discount stores, TJ Maxx, Ross, Burlington, Marshalls, and Big Lots. These are all stores where you can, again, buy stuff that's usually expensive, but if these stores usually ever have an overstock, or maybe they didn't sell, they'll send them to these stores like TJ Maxx and Ross. So I love to shop here. Again, I do a lot of my holiday shopping at TJ Maxx, one of my most favorite stores. They have a lot of everything from home decor to clothing, cookware, stuff like that. A lot of good brands at a really good price. Next is thrift stores. These are just great in general because you can find a lot of great gems at these different stores, whether it be clothing, stuff for your home, even stuff for like holidays, right? The decor, stuff like that, at a really, really good price. So definitely take advantage of that, especially if you're not looking to spend a lot of money in certain areas. This is the place to go. We usually, like if I'm looking for, you know, stuff to make for a friend, like for Christmas or anything, I usually will go there to find the items. I like to give my friends and family members frames of pictures to hang on their walls or whatever. So I go there to find really good frames and stuff to decorate them with. So it's a great place to go to buy gifts, to decor at a really good price. And then our last category here is our other, which is kind of a little bit of everything. So our Sam's Club and Costco are just our, you know, buy a bulk stores, right? So this comes in handy if you have a really big family. Going there to buy in bulk can really save you money and prevent you from having to go to the grocery store so often. So definitely take advantage of those two stores. Dollar Tree is just a great store to go to, especially if you have any crafts you're planning on doing for the holiday season. I definitely recommend taking advantage of that. And then Walmart's the last one here. And I call this one the all-in-one store just because it has everything you would need at a really good price, right? You have your food, you have your clothing, home decor, any seasonal decor, seasonal items, stuff like that at a really good price. So again, these are just great examples of different stores to shop at if you're trying to save some money during this holiday season. And then last but not least is our DIY section. So DIY stands for dance self. So this is just pretty much you know, getting crafty and creating something yourself, right? So the pros of doing DIY is there are DIY tips for almost everything. So good example, if you're looking to maybe make like decor, if you want to buy a seasonal decor like a pumpkin set or something, but it's too expensive, you can almost DIY it and make your own. When you do your own DIY, you can create something really unique, something that's personal to you, and you can't find anywhere else in the store. It can save you money. Again, if something is too expensive and you'd rather make it yourself, that might be a cheaper option. And it's always something fun to do with the family or your friends. The cons to DIY, it could be time consuming, especially if you might not have time. And then also it can get a little expensive. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to DIY, make sure that it's going to be more affordable than you actually buying the item, but also know that it can be really fun to do these different DIY projects with your family or friends. So that's it for me. I hope you guys learned something and use these shopping tips for when you're shopping this holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Itzel, for enlightening us. I know that you are a savvy shopper, and I would come to you for any of my shopping tips. So I appreciate you sharing some of those with us today. So I am excited to launch I guess it is a giveaway, but really more something, a challenge. A challenge is at Fair Credit that we are extending to all of you participants and anybody who will watch this at a later occasion or see it on our social media platform. As we know right now that this is often actually the time or the season to spend, but we are actually challenging you to save. And so we have the opportunity or the challenge to give to you that in the next 30 days to try to save $100, $300, $500, or $1,000. It is your choice. It doesn't matter what amount. It can even not be one of those listed amounts, but really the idea is that we're trying to get and motivate you to help to save for these holiday seasons that are upcoming. We would love for you to share your experience of saving during a pandemic by tagging us and following on our social media platforms using the hashtag #SeasonToSave. We have had some local Utah businesses who have donated some free giveaways and gifts that for those of you who do participate in using any one of those three platforms and share your experience will be entered to win those giveaways. So we have here, well, first of all, if you don't feel like you will be able to participate because things are so tight, please reach out to us for free budget counseling and coaching. We would love to be able to help you to participate in this and really just get in the season and to save, but really more just to be able to feel like you can and that it is capable or it is possible. We do have a free season to save tracker. We have entered it in here to download on our chat, or if you will go to the next slide here, Talon. I have entered them in here that you can kind of see an idea. So save 130 days. You can keep track by coloring in a space per day. It can be, as you see here, some days the biggest one will be as much as $10 that you would need to save. Or you can save the 330 days. We have various different amounts there, the highest one being $30 that you would need to save. It looks like two different times in the month. Then we've got the save 530 days tracker. which of course is going to be a little bit more and have more higher values more frequently. And then lastly, of course, the Save 1,000, which is going to be the most, the hardest challenge that you can do in 30 days. I would highly recommend to download this to participate. And I've got some tips and tricks for you on the next slide so that you can make this this possible. So set a daily savings reminder. I was telling my coworkers that it's so often that we will use our mobile devices or mobile banking to take money from our savings and to put it into our checking. But I want us to this next month to have the mentality of instead setting a daily reminder of taking $1 or $5 or whatever the amount is that we're trying to save towards and entering it into our savings. There often is, you know, the various different banks and credit unions have the cap amount in which you can actually take from a savings to a checking. You know, you can only do it upwards of 4 to 6 times. It really just depends on your local credit union or bank. But the beauty of a checking to savings deposit is that there is no cap. So set a daily savings reminder. Eat out less and deposit the money that you save. That's the key. So if you choose not to eat out or not to go get a Little Caesars pizza, make sure that you pay that into your savings account. Create a budget including your savings goal. Again, we would love for you to reach out to us to say, hey, I would love to do this challenge of save 100 or save 300 in a month. I just don't know if it's possible, and we'd love to help you to make it work. Try some of the low cost, no cost holiday activities that we spoke about at the very beginning. Consider working a seasonal job for extra cash. I actually just got a mail-in offer today, I think, of the seasonal jobs that are going to be coming up for not UPS, but USPS, and they're looking for additional help in the mailing department right now. Selling unwanted items on KSL, Facebook Marketplace, or OfferUp. These are another opportunity for you to take unwanted or unneeded items, to sell them, and then to put that towards your saving goal. So again, we have that save money in 30 days, the 4 different options available for you to download on those PDF copies. We'd love for you to follow us on our social media platforms and tag us and use that hashtag season to save for a chance to win a giveaway, which we will announce on our November 17th webinar. So make sure that you sign up for that. And again, if you go and follow us, will you go to the next slide there, Talon? If you go and follow us on the various different platforms here, so you can find us on Facebook by typing in AAA Fair Credit, or on Instagram, Fair Credit FDN, and then on Twitter, AAA Fair Credit, or Utah Saves is the other one that we have on there. So feel free to follow us, to share that, and we would love to hear about your experience or to help you take the first step in becoming a saver during a pandemic. So I am going to now turn the time over to Ben, who is going to take any questions. Please take any questions that we might have from USU or for us, and we'd love to answer those. So please enter in any questions that you have in the chat, and Ben will kind of help facilitate that.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Yeah, so again, we're always happy to help and reach out. Also, in case anybody here is not aware, we do have our classes that we teach on budgeting, twice a month, followed up with classes on credit and debt. I actually just taught one of the budgeting classes this morning. So, just another resource that we have for you guys to reach out for. But any questions that anyone has, again, either for the USU Extension team or for us here at Fair Credit. Nothing yet, but okay, so we got one actually. So I took the budgeting class a while ago. Can we retake it, or is it a one-time? You can retake it as many times as you want. I mean, we are perfectly happy to have you keep coming back. because I know that there's a lot of information in those classes, and you know, you may walk away with different information each time just because you may have remembered, you know, different parts of it each time. So you're always welcome to take those classes again. The next one is this next Tuesday at 9 a.m. So 9 to noon. It's, let me just double check the date, but it's a week from today on October 20th.
And I just put in the chat too the link to our website for the different classes and events to be able to sign up there. And that's all sign up for next month's webinar as well by going to the month of November, where we will be talking more about employment and things like that, especially as Mackenzie shared towards the end. There's a lot of new seasonal jobs that are opening up, and so we'd love to have you there as well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Talon. It's always good to have that link on there. But yeah, you can always go and check what our upcoming classes and webinars and events are on our website, you know, faircredit.org/classes-events. And again, you know, as somebody commented, we will be putting this webinar on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So if you did miss the first part of it, you can get on. It should be up within a couple days, you know, so that you can get on and view that to see what you missed, especially since we did have a lot of great information from Melanie and her team. Oh, yes, this is actually a great question for you, Melanie. Would you just remind us again, where do we learn about the USU SNAP-Ed classes?
Yeah, good question. So with COVID and stuff, we're not in person, obviously, as almost nobody is, but you can follow us on social media at the USU Extension Salt Lake Facebook page. You can also follow Create Better Health online on Instagram. They have a blog, createbetterhealth.org. I'll put that link in there. And on createbetterhealth.org, the blog, you can actually sign up for a newsletter. And I think it goes out monthly, and they'll just send a tip and then classes that are in your area. So if you're in the Salt Lake area, it would show like Zoom classes that we're teaching, but even if you're not in the Salt Lake County area, I think it asks for your zip code, and then they will, in that newsletter, they'll just put at the bottom some classes that are in your area. So I'll put that link in chat.
Thank you. And that really is an awesome resource available, you know, that they provide throughout the state. So I actually really suggest you guys look at that and start following so you can see their classes, see their tips. So thank you, Melanie. Any other questions? Okay. Well, if you're just finishing a question, please feel free to still submit it. But thank you again to the USU Extension team for being here, for sharing the information you did. That's such an important and vital part of, you know, taking care of ourselves, taking care of our budgets. So we appreciate it. And thank you all for being here to listen and learn and to ask your questions. Have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week, and we will see you next month.